Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 24th, 2026 regular meeting of council. I would like to call the meeting to order at 5:31 p.m. Deputy Mayor Marecki, could you please give the land acknowledgement?
I would like to acknowledge that the rural municipality of St. Andrews is located on Treaty 1 territory, traditional lands of the Anishinaabe Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene people on the national homeland of the Red River Métis. We respect the spirit and intent of treaties and treaty making and remain committed to working in partnership with First Nations, Inuit, Métis people in the spirit of truth, reconciliation, and collaboration.
Thank you. Adoption of the agenda. Be it resolved that council adopt the agenda as amended with the removal of legal personnel under in-camera 13.1. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Slaker, seconder. Councillor Feeblecorn. All in favor? Unanimous, that is carried. Adoption of the minutes. Be it resolved that council adopt the February 10th, 2026 council meeting minutes as presented. Can I have a mover, please? Deputy Mayor Marecki. Seconded by Councillor Dornbos. Any errors or omissions? All in favor? Unanimous, that is carried. Draft committee of the whole. Be it resolved the council received the February 17th, 2026 committee of the whole meeting minutes as presented. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Dornbos, seconder. Councillor Slaker. Any errors or omissions? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor? Unanimous, that is carried. Reception of delegations. Welcome Inspector Lambert and Luke. I'm sorry, I didn't get your last name. Sampson. Welcome.
Thank you.
So you're here for the quarterly report.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me again. Since we just finished introducing Staff Sergeant Sampson, draw your attention to the blue shirt that he is wearing. That is the new look for the RCMP General Duty members, going away from the gray shirt that we were also used to. And it's the rollout of the new shirt design is division by division, and in D division, it's going to be in the early spring, circa around beginning of May. So by the time that we do the next quarterly report, you're going to start to see some of the more of the advanced rollout of the new uniform shirt. So I trust everyone has a copy of the quarterly report in front of them. Not much to change as far as our resourcing is concerned. However, in the last couple of weeks, I've noticed a significant uptick in staffing actions for the members. We're also set to receive, we've received one new cadet from Depot 2 weeks ago. We were set to receive another one mid-March. And I think there's another one teed up again for later on in March. We have some experienced police officers that are lateraling over from other police services elsewhere in the country, and some transfers that are coming in. So from what I can see, from what our divisional staffing are telling us, that there is a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel as far as our resources on the table. So that's good news. The second page there, as far as our priorities is concerned, nothing has changed. I'm just wondering if there was any questions about any issues with our priorities that anybody wanted to ask. No.
Members, any comments? I'm sorry, Councillor Hunt and Wander are on Zoom. Anybody have any questions? No?
Not yet, no.
That was the end. Something comes up. As far as our stats are concerned, we are down a little bit from our call volume. Yeah, we're just down a little bit from the call volume. Getting it a little bit into the actual occurrence types that we were dealing with. Draw your attention to categories of assault with a weapon, theft of vehicle, and other theft of motor vehicles. And then the suspicious persons, I know that the constituents be a little bit concerned about that. With regards to assaults, stats represent for 6 files in the quarter. This happening all over the RM. There's no discernible geographical pattern to that. From a review of the occurrences and the summaries, these are people that are known to each other. There's quite a few domestic and intimate partner violence kind of occurrences here, and a neighborhood dispute, but they're all people that are intimately known to each other. The assault with a weapon is actually domestic as well, which available weapon was used. So that's just the only change to that. Theft of trucks. We've raised this in the past because of trucks being used, like special pickup trucks being used, readily accessible to facilitate other crimes of opportunity. They're particularly problematic for us because they're a relatively large vehicle. And a lot of the individuals that are responsible for stealing these vehicles, a lot of times they have no problem engaging in pursuits with the police. Theft of trucks for the quarter represented in eight files. Within the 8 files, there is 3 occasions where the keys were left readily accessible and visible in the vehicle. And again, these vehicles are being used to facilitate other crimes, which I'll get into later. The theft of other motor vehicle would include flat deck trailers and campers. I can't speak to why anybody would steal a camper, but we know that these flat deck trailers are being used to steal other heavy equipment, skid steers, and that kind of thing, and other snowmobiles where there's a definite market. So of the 11 files that we have here, 5 of these are trailer thefts, and 2 of them are campers. The trailer thefts include enclosed trailers, which are they're pretty valuable. I think the one that we have in our compound is worth about $15,000. So they're better because they can secrete off-road vehicles like snow machines and quads, and they're not necessarily noticeable. So these are trailers that are accessible, and people are roaming the communities looking for opportunities to take them, and they're deemed to be a fairly low risk, high return kind of item for people to steal. Suspicious persons represented in 26 files, and there is a correlation between unsecured vehicles, the theft of trailers, and you'll see a lot of what we're for the 26 files that we have are people in the community that are recognizing suspicious behavior, something that is beyond the norm for what they're used to. And a lot of these are individuals that on the face of it would look like they're surveying a property, anticipating that they might commit an offense on the property. They have been scared off by community members either calling police and us conducting patrols or confronting these people in their yards. So there's a direct correlation between the items that are left exposed on people's property and these crimes of opportunity that, by and large, suspects originating in the city of Winnipeg are coming out and looking for these things. Some of these are unfounded, investigated and found to be legitimate. Dog is barking because of wildlife traveling through the property or a neighbor, the communication between neighbors, that kind of thing. But at least 50% of them are people that on the face of it look like they're scoping out an opportunity for a theft of a truck or a theft of a trailer or something like that. And then the last one is a trafficking file. I know that stands out a little bit, even though it's only one file. Again, this was an opportunity for us that was developed as a result of a proactive patrol. Members just patrolling the area, come across a suspicious vehicle and interacting in a follow-up investigation and finding evidence of drug trafficking. So That's pretty much it. Any questions, concerns?
Go ahead.
I'm sure this will probably shed more light coming up for our first quarter for our next meeting, but Warner Road, with a lot of people ice fishing and leaving their vehicles unattended on the parking lot there.
Mhm.
I know there's been a lot of on social media reports of vehicle theft or theft from motor vehicle.
Okay.
Is that something that, I mean, I know with the weather getting a little nicer and kind of that March Madness fishing coming up, there's gonna be a lot more vehicles. Is there any chance of like patrols kind of, I know it's kind of a ways away out, but just to maybe, because we're getting a lot of reports that I've seen with people just stealing stuff from vehicles because it's not attended there yet.
And again, those anecdotal reports may not be reflected in our occurrences. So again, I would strongly encourage members of the public to reach out to us directly. We follow up on every single file that we get, and we do thrive on patterns of behavior. So if we're recognizing an area that's acute with these type of occurrences, we will definitely focus more resources to proactively look into that.
Councillor Hahn?
A couple of things. Thank you for your presentation. In regards to Councillor Feeblecorn's comment, we usually clean quite a large area of ice down on the ice, and that hasn't been done this year as of yet, I don't think, and we should be doing that to prevent people from parking on the road, because it creates more of a village, and there's always somebody by a vehicle usually, so I think it would eliminate a lot of that. On your theft of vehicles, cars and trucks and SUVs, does that include large trucks? There was a large truck stolen from the northern part of our municipality. One of our residents had it stolen on the weekend, and it was used in, like you said, in thefts of other trailers, to steal flat deck highway trailers and distribute those different areas. Do you find many of that stuff now, like larger trucks stealing larger trailers and full of lumber, van trailers full of meat, that kind of stuff,
No, not yet. But that's probably coming in the next quarterly stats, but I could definitely look into that. I would say that the theft of like a big rig semi truck fifth wheel kind of thing is unusual for the area. The trucks that we're seeing are the 100, 200, and 300 series half tons, 3/4 tons pickups. But we're not seeing anything like that. The flat deck trailers that I've seen stolen are the ones that are typically hauled behind one of those pickup trucks.
Right.
A theft of a bigger commercial fifth wheel would be definitely unusual. We definitely like to know about that.
Yeah. So it was, a normal Kenworth truck, but a bit different than most the kind of thing. And with social media, it was put out there and it was located and recovered by the owner. But I'm sure you know all about that. Anyway, it's and in saying that, so a truck is stolen from one area and then used in a theft in another area. So how are our stats compared to, like, basically all of the stats? Do you have an overall report from the area, like maybe the Capital Region or the Selkirk, St. Clements, East St. Paul, West St. Paul region? Are our stats comparable, higher or lower?
I would say it's consistent across the board,
okay.
It would be. I think it would be consistent in all areas that would have those types of vehicles available, especially with our proximity to a major center.
Right.
So it would apply, all of the areas in around Winnipeg, probably all the areas in around Brandon, and extended as far as like to similar demographic in around Regina and centers like that. So we know that these thefts are both opportunistic, and on the other side, some of them could be a result of organized crime activity. And we, as an organization, tapped into stats from across the country, trends that we're seeing. We're not seeing that level of sophistication around here as yet, which makes the theft of these larger trucks considerably more unusual for our area.
Okay, right. Yeah. And it has been, very unusual for that size of a truck to get stolen, and how it was stolen.
Yeah, the significant more skill to start and run, a vehicle like that as opposed to a pickup,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, gentlemen,
Thank you.
just or today and just over the past couple of weeks, I've noticed that there seems to be a lot more people coming up to other people's doors, ringing the doorbell, asking for stuff. There was just one, maybe you got a report on it recently, where a gentleman showed up at a guy's door at 10:30 at night asking for a glass of water.
yeah.
So is this becoming a trend? Like, is
I can speak to that if you want.
Sure, yeah.
So the experience I've had with that recently is that's like a little bit like he was talking earlier, people canvassing your house, scoping the house. Like if someone answers, might be something asinine as a glass of water, using the phone this day and age, everybody has a cell phone, mostly everybody's cell phone. So check if you're home. So nothing's gonna happen probably that night. If they're, if there's asinine, they leave and you don't think anything of it. But now he knows you're home. Might try the next house where there's nobody, then he comes back the next day there, or they come back the next day to do that. And just to touch on theft of vehicle, I know it's not an extremely common thing in Manitoba yet. The East Coast was a big proponent of it. People with their with their key fobs, they can be cloned. I got my own truck stolen when I was there, a brand new truck. So just to say, ways around that would be like having your keys in a Faraday bag, like blocking signals. If you don't want to buy anything, just put in aluminum foil at night. But that foil will save your key signal to be cloned. And it's something like the guys can just show up 15 minutes they're gone. There's no break-in that happens. It's literally just copying your key to your vehicle and they take off your vehicle. So just something to keep in mind. Like it's not anybody with a physical key, you don't have to worry about that so much, but it is a trend that comes out where it's not all that hard to steal vehicles that way. Or at least just your fob when you push start your vehicle. Someone from outside can just copy it from inside your house because they have signal to it, and they just copy the signal onto their mock fob if you would like, and they can take off with your vehicle. And if you told me this about 6 months ago, and I was like, all right, it's pretty far fetched. Now I've seen it on my cameras. I've seen exactly how they did it. And my very reliable dog that barks every night, that was the one night he took off from barking. Thank you very much. He's my bronze retriever there. He didn't quite achieve full status.
Well, thank you. Any further questions, council? I have one on the mental health thing. Is it getting any better? How about the escorts, the mental health escorts, when the archers have to pick somebody up, the long waits and everything else?
You know what, actually, for us, as of late, it's been better. There has been some headway with the use of the institutional safety officers. There was a note that came out today that they're ramping up the capacity of that as it applies to the Selkirk Mental Health and Selkirk Hospital to a certain extent. I mean, largely it's focused in Health Sciences Center and things like that, but we are still tasked with taking some of our clients to those locations. So, an introduction of an ISO or any other resource like that anywhere along the chain where we would have to work is going to be helpful for us. It's some recent stuff that just came in today that I haven't made myself completely aware of just yet, but it's my understanding that there was an influx of the ISOs in Winnipeg and surrounding areas to help us out.
Well, AMM said they hired 100, but there's a disconnect in communication between the Department of Health. So they don't even know where all these people are, but Selkirk is declared a hub, so they will get for sure.
Yeah.
And what did they tell us? The legislation is being amended. They're looking at it this spring under the Mental Health Acts being relooked.
It's good.
That's very good news. I was not aware of that. Yeah.
What can be deceiving too when, I know it's politics, but when they say, oh, there's been 100 people hired, at what stage of the hiring process are these people at? They just fill the test and they still have a year to go before they get recruited or, finish the finish line. That could be
The
deceiving.
assistant director that was here, that's where he found, he couldn't get full information.
No, that's
They
the
were not
thing.
disclosing, they just said 100.
That's right.
What do they call it? Institutional?
Institutional safety officers.
Well,
It's a
that's-
similar program to the community safety officers. It's just a matter of where they're being deployed. So Yeah, I did notice over the weekend, there was a couple of calls for overtime for mental health clientele coming in from Nunavut, requesting overtime. Members of down the escort there, I think they remember the one member there was at the hospital for 16+ hours, another one for 20+ hours. So they're trying to find people to spell off, and I know that one of those was impacted was a Beausejour member. They will deploy us into a remote location within Nunavut and grab a client and bring them down and take them to the hospital. And then that member's now stuck with that person until they can get relieved. So there was a Beausejour member that was tasked with doing that. 16+ hours, spelling each other off and managing calls at the same time. So it's quite the burden.
Oh, it's a huge financial burden. It's just,
Well, we actually run out of resources. 16+ hours, and if we can't get relief within the first like 10 hours of a shift, 16+ hours, that's just going to extend, 18, 24, that kind of thing, and the members just can't do it. You'd be pressed with bringing that person back from the hospital wherever they're at, and bringing them back and lodging them in a detachment cell until other arrangements can be made, and that's not fair to the clientele either.
so hopefully. This has been going on for how many years?
So.
Okay, any further questions? Well, thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Do you do traffic on the highway?
Me?
Yeah.
The last time I wrote a ticket was in 2011.
I like you.
I'm not a traffic guy, so.
I like you already. Okay,
You're
next.
supposed to say daily on a regular basis.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, I said that wrong.
I have a magnet.
Perfect.
All right, let's go right over to you.
I'll show you which is a van.
Hey,
Bye.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, next item, council reports. Does anybody, thank you to all those that have been in reports. Anybody have any questions? Okay, we'll move on. Bylaws and policy. Policy DDS 12, tax balance relocation policy. We resolve the council adopt policy GGS 12, the tax balance relocation policy, reallocation policy as amended. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Dornbos, seconder. Deputy Mayor Mareki. Did someone want to speak on this?
I'll just quickly speak. We're just looking to put a higher value where it doesn't go to tax sale, because the first round of tax sales are coming around $400. So people that owe $50, if it ends up going to tax sale, within a month, they're getting a $400 charge added, and then they start paying penalties on those taxes. So we're looking at just upping the value, so that takes some of the people that just owe really a small balance, that it doesn't put into tax sale.
Do you think that's enough? Is 150 still quite low? Do you have a typical tax sale value that? would be-
No, like they really vary, so we're just trying to really pull out all the really low ones, just so they're not added these, the burden of those costs. And if they continue not to pay the next year, then they're gonna have higher values, and then that's when the tax sale process will go into place. But again, we were at $50, which seemed exceptionally low. We're recommending going to 150, but it's really at council's discretion what they're comfortable with.
All right. All agreeable to listen to it.
I think 150, I would go at least, I don't know, 3 or 4.
Why? Well, no, this is for the smaller ones.
No, I know, you raise it to that. $50 isn't that really that much?
Well, I would think there are some that come around, they're like 57, 60, because it's just that small amount that keeps dragging through those month-to-month ones, right? So by the time you get to, I guess, $300, it could be 6 years down the road. And
No,
before
it's
it was-
only held for 3 years.
It only held for 3 years? Okay.
Then it goes into tax.
Okay,
But to me, raising it to 150 from 50, that gives incentive to pay. But if we go like to 400, well, they're having a hard time paying that
Mhm.
$50. That's just putting more financial burden on them.
I'm fine with the 150.
Counselor Schleicher.
No, I would say 150 because money owed is money owed. They'll do every year.
Fine. Okay, so we'll go to 150 as per the recommendation. Any further questions? Okay, all in favor? Unanimous, that is carried. Next item, 7.2, be it resolved that council give first reading to bylaw number 4429, being a bylaw to add outstanding utility charges to taxes for 2025 as presented. Now, this is on for first reading. Could I get a mover, please? Counselor Dornbos, seconder. Counselor Schleicher. Lisa or Carrie, do you have something to add to this?
Not really too much. I prepared the schedule. It just seems like there's a continuing number of people that are not paying their utility bill, and you can see that out in the listing, there's a lot that are over $1,000 on that list. So, we want to make sure that it's paid. So by transferring it to taxes ensures that it is paid within the tax year, or it can go to tax sale.
This is an annual bylaw.
Yeah.
Council passes this every year. To add any outstanding utilities to taxes.
Okay. Any other questions? Any questions? All those in favor? Unanimous, that is carried. Bylaw 4430, weed control costs. Be it resolved that council give first reading to bylaw number 4430, being a bylaw to add outstanding weed control costs to taxes for 2025 as presented. Could I get a mover, please? Counselor Schleicher, seconder. Counselor Mondor. Does admin want to speak to this?
It's the same process. Any of the outstanding weed tax bills that we get from the Suffolk Weed Control District, we get at the end of the year, the outstanding balance, and then it's the RM does the bylaw to put it on the taxes. That's the mechanism to get those unpaid balances.
Okay, any question? All in favor? Unanimous, that is carried. Oh, I know. Election bylaw review. Attached is the RFD for the elections. Does anybody have any questions? Lisa, did you want to speak to this?
Yeah, I can. This is again, this comes over in 4 years, just because it's an election year. There's certain bylaws that council has to review to see if there should be any changes made. And those changes have a deadline, so we want to bring them forward now, so that if any of the bylaws need to be changed, they can be amended and then come for first, second, and third reading. So the first one that I have attached is the ward boundaries. We have old numbers in the RFD there. So that's what it was in 2022. I didn't get new numbers yet, but I'm not anticipating there's going to be much change in them at all. The second bylaw is the election campaign expenses bylaw, and that's really outlines the amount that can be spent. And then the third bylaw is the use of municipal resources. And again, that's just for council review. I don't recommend any changes to that.
The council members, do you have any questions? Okay, so that is on the election bylaw review. Bylaw 4111, ward boundaries. So everyone is aware. Any questions on that one? 4301, election campaign expenses. Okay, your expenses. This is council, this can be changed if you, in the forms we all have to fill out in the election. It's 8,000 for mayor, 2,700. You're allowed to spend for council members. I think that should be up a bit. What? Councillor Hunt?
Yeah, I agree with the counselor one. I don't know what other RMs, but I think we even talked about this last time. I think it should go up almost to half of what the head of council is, or maybe $3,500.
Well, head of council campaign through the whole RM. Councillors have their own work. So what do you think? This, to me, this is on the low side.
Wanna put it to 10 and 35? 10,000 for head of council, 35 for councillor?
10 is quite high.
It doesn't mean you have to spend it.
Yeah, you don't have to spend it.
That's
That's
right.
your
No, that's
limit.
right.
Just a little bit, but yeah, I would be okay with, 3, 4.
Let's go 10 and 4
Sure.
for head of council.
So you don't have to spend it all.
I never came close to that. Councillor 4. Okay, this is for first reading. There's no resolutions or anything attached. No, Lisa, there was nothing in my package to print out. We don't,
No, there's no resolution, just that we have to get the feedback. If there are any amendments, we will bring it back and sort of bylaw with that implemented in first reading.
okay, use it.
I
Go ahead, Councillor Hunt.
just have a comment back to the ward boundaries. And it's just a comment. As you see, Ward 6 says 1,150 dwellings and 443 of them are seasonal. And when we're doing our development bylaw, I talked to Braden about this. Just because it's zoned seasonal, like 90% of them zoned seasonal are full-time residents. So I just don't want people thinking that they're cabins. They are full-time. 90% of the ones in the seasonal zones, Ward 5 and 6, are full-time residents. I'm just making a comment on it. That's all. I'm good with the ward boundaries.
Okay, approval of accounts. Be it resolved that council approve the February 20th, 2026 check detail report is presented. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Feeble-Corn, seconded by Councillor Dornbos. Any comments or questions? Go ahead.
I did send in an email, but everybody's been busy, so I haven't gotten an answer yet. But it's just a general question. It was nothing major. So.
So are you abstaining from the vote because you don't have an answer?
No, I just something that I'm curious about. So I understand what it's for.
All those in favor? Carried. Council indemnities January report. Does anybody have any questions about that? Comment? Okay, correspondence for action. Lisa, I don't have that. I'll just write it on another one, okay? That one I don't have.
Yeah, do you want me to read this?
Yes, please.
Okay, be it resolved that, and then the following, be authorized to attend our meeting, which is being held on March 5th at Lower Fort Garry.
Okay, I'll be attending. We're hosting that. Rob, Dan, Justin, Councillor Stiker, will you be attending?
Yes.
Councillor Hunt or Councillor Mondor, okay, Councillor Mondor. Councillor Hunt, will you be attending on March 5th?
No, I won't be. No.
Okay, so I've got all the names written down, then it'll be admin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Councilor Hunt the only one?
Yeah, Councilor Hunt's the only one not. Go ahead.
Are we having any staff, attend? I know typically.
Yeah, that Lisa will look at. We don't need a resolution
Okay.
for that.
Okay.
Somebody will be looking after that, and I think Lisa and Brent will be attending. I think Janet's done it in the past. All those in favor? That is unanimous, that is carried.
Did we get a mover and a seconder?
Oh, sorry, could I get a mover, please? Counselor Jordan Boss, Kim, seconder. Deputy Mayor Marecki. All in favor? Unanimous, that is carried. St. Andrews Community Club, St. Andrews Community Club loan request for decision. Be it resolved that the Council of the RM of St. Andrews approves the loan request to St. Andrews Community Club. Further be it resolved that Council of the Rural Municipality of St. Andrews approve the loan to the St. Andrews Community Club for $150,000 with the preferred strategy of repayment set at 2.5%. Could I get a mover, please? Councillor Dornbos, seconder. Councillor Mondor. Now, we received an email. Ken, did you want to speak to that?
You know what, I think that, Gary had explained it quite well. Karen had, or a resident had a concern regarding a bylaw that needed to be made as well as an audit that needed to be done, so maybe you know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, when we set out loans for any other organizations to us, we have to set up a bylaw that states the terms of repayment and the schedule for the repayments, and that has to be signed by the mayor and the CAO. So in discussing with the resident that had a question, she was just concerned that we were not aware that we had to do that. So I made sure that we were aware and that we would do that after this decision was made.
And did you recall something like that in the past that had to be done that way?
See, it happened, and maybe Lori can chime in there. That happened before I was elected in
Okay.
2013.
Okay.
But in 2014, I remember there wasn't, payments were not being made, but it was the sentencing. Like,
Okay.
it came through insurance, they stopped paying for a while. And then the check, that was an issue, but the check from the insurance, well, the fraud, that was paid directly to the RM of St. Andrews, and we took off the 90,000. It was around 90,000 that they owed us immediately. The community club got them.
I figured that that's probably what the resident was concerned about, so that we have all the checks and balances done with this next one that comes.
Yeah,
But I
I
just-
just figured it wouldn't be paid, and that she's also concerned that there may be issues at the community center that we're not aware of, so that she wants to ensure that we follow the process of making sure that they're audited every year if they get a loan from us.
And it would be a bylaw done up like we have for the St. Andrews Airport, or that we borrow the money for the runway. Okay, so further be it resolved, council approve the loan to the community club for $150,000 with preferred strategy of repayment. Councillor Durnbos moved it. Councillor Mondor seconded. Any further questions? All in favor? Unanimous, that is carried. AMM Spring Convention, April 21st to the 23rd in Brandon. Be it resolved that be authorized to attend the AMM Spring Convention being held April 21st to the 23rd in Brandon. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Slaker, seconder. Councillor Hutt, who will be attending AMM? Councillor Dornbos. Councillor Slaker. I'll be going.
Tentatively. I'll just have to confirm.
When will you know? Oh, yeah, because Janet has to book the rooms, but she'll email everybody. Okay, we'll put down Councillor Feeblecorn.
I also noticed that, looking at the schedule, the 21st is for the CEOs, mayors, and
Yeah, we go a day early.
that's right.
But we can go, could both do that night.
That's on the night of the 21st,
That's the second night.
first night.
First
21st.
night,
It's the night of the mayors and reeves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah,
21st.
okay. So. Mayor Sewell, Councillors Feeblecorn, Slaker, and Dornbos.
No.
Counselor Hunt?
Yep, I'm going.
Oh, because you forgave going to ARM and going to FCM.
I didn't, not this one. This is the winter one. The ARM, it wasn't ARM, it was AMM in the November convention, Mayor Sewell.
Okay, Counselor Hunt,
Okay,
all those in favor? That is carried. MGRA, Manitoba Good Roads Banquet. Be it resolved that be authorized to attend the Manitoba Good Roads Banquet being held April 21st in Brandon. Could I get a mover, please? Counselor Slaker, seconder. Counselor Mondor, who wants to attend that, or is everybody attending?
I would try and encourage all of council to attend if they can, because we will be winning one of the Good Roads Award for our district. We've already been going to be getting that award, and we could be getting the provincial award. That's decided at the banquet. So
We did.
All of us last time.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'll just put all the council better than.
No, I won't be.
Well, no.
Councilor, Deputy Mayor Moretti, no, but all the ones depending on them.
Okay.
All those in favor? That is unanimous, it is carried. Any correspondence for information? Does anybody have any questions on anything attached under information items? Counselor Mondor?
I was just wondering why we have 10.5 on our agenda, given that it's West St. Paul.
It's just, they're just giving us notice, like, well, in the past, we've had Selkirk or East St. Paul members of our RPD. They just give us notice if we have any concerns to send them in.
Okay.
It's typically if you share a road, if it's the neighboring community, you share a. Again, like we Highway 9, we share with them, so that's why it's on there. Otherwise, we would see something.
No, and we see if there's a neighbor thing
Yeah.
or whatever.
Like West St. Paul wouldn't get something from St. Clements because they're not sharing any.
Just for council's awareness. Yeah.
Okay, it's just for information, basically. Counselor Hunt?
So on 10.7, I think it was on their last meeting about the Interlake Municipal Bonds Bill. Have we distributed this to our fire halls? Because in the past, it's been sent to the fire halls. And if the fire halls want to send in a team, we've paid for the team. It's a municipal bonds bill. And, sometimes in the past, a member from one hall is gone, another member from another hall. So we've entered the team as a fireman team, still under St. Andrews. So if we could send it to the fire halls, that would be great.
Okay, that administration will look at that. Any other questions? Okay, new business, March 16th, town meeting time change. Be it resolved that the March 16th, 2026 committee of the whole meeting start time be changed from 5:30 to 5 p.m. Could I get a mover, please? Counselor Doornbos, seconder. Counselor Feeblecorn. All those in favor? Unanimous, that is carried. Tax service engagement letter. Whereas the municipal act requires the municipality to conduct tax recovery proceedings every year. And whereas council for the municipality deems it to be in the municipality's best interest to hire a tax service Inc. to manage tax arrears recovery on its behalf. Therefore, be it resolved that the Orvis St. Andrews hire tax service Inc. to manage tax arrears recovery on the municipality's behalf for a term of 3 years. And be it further resolved that the administrator be and is hereby authorized to sign the tax service Inc. engagement letter on behalf of the municipality. Could I have a mover, please? Counselor Doornbos, seconder. Or Counselor Hunt. Any questions? All those in favor? Unanimous, that is carried. Item 12.3 tax adjustments. Be it resolved, the council approved the 2025 tax adjustment as presented. That should read as presented. NSF checks $15,079.86. Business taxes $6,601. Property cleanup charges $4,978.20. Animal control $1,000. Supplemental taxes as per assessment $309,370.20. Cancel taxes including assessment community groups $66,367.36. Could I get a mover, please? Councillor Dornbos, seconder. Councillor Feeblecourt. Any questions, council? Councillor Secretary?
What is this? I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Well, we do it every year. We're not here, this is done every year. We pass this resolution.
For what though? Like what the, like what is it all about?
We do this every year, so it's a matter of the charges for NSF that if people make tips payments and there's not enough funds in it.
Right.
So they get, we put those onto the taxes, right? So all of these outstanding balances that we have now, or there's now control, somebody didn't pay their fine. Annually, it gets added onto the taxes.
We have $309,000 outstanding on taxes not being paid.
No, that is supplemental taxes. So when we talk about planning issues where you can sit, where I know, the CAO has said before that you get supplemental taxes. So if there's a subdivision or there's something done on the lot, your assessment, you're allowed to go back a couple of years to get supplemental taxes. So with supplemental taxes, you don't have to pay school tax on it. So that is a revenue for us. That's just like paying taxes on land, but they don't pay it in the year. It goes back 2 years on, say, a new lot. And so that's revenue.
Okay, thank you very much.
All those in favor, or are there any, Council Wonder?
Yeah, I was just wondering about the canceled $66,000 worth of taxes. I wonder if we could all get a breakdown of who these community groups are. If that would be something that could be provided to us.
Okay. Councillor Dormouse, you had your hand up?
I was gonna vote.
Councillor Hunt, did you have a question? Well, I guess we can't pass this until Councillor Hunt, Councillor Mondor gets his breakdown for the community groups. Or is that gonna make a difference?
It's not gonna make a difference. I mean, we're canceling the taxes, but we can certainly provide some more in-depth information on it.
But what if we don't agree as a council to cancel some of these checks to some of these groups?
They're not checks.
They're
Basically with council taxes, it's like, when you do something to your, how do I explain it? It's basically that, the property was sold, taxes are canceled on certain things. Also, taxes are canceled on property owned by RM lands, by community centers. Taxes are canceled by Her Majesty the Queen's lands, the ones that are not being paid, some of that sort of stuff. So it's not all community center stuff that's in there. It's a whole whack of other stuff that's incorporated into that number. And this entire schedule is basically, we get a tax roll at audit, and the tax roll comes from the province on June 15th. What they allow us to do is we have our supplementals that are added to taxes later in the year. So that's not on our tax list. These are all the items. Now we have to make the adjustments on our tax roll before we go into 2026 so that we can go to audit. We can't go to audit with a tax roll that's not properly adjusted and the transactions are not properly approved by council.
I'm just worried my concern is that, community groups and community centers, yes, I believe that they should be getting tax breaks. That's kind of a given. I would just like to know if there's any other groups that are being given potential preferential treatment here for tax exemptions. And this is very vague as far as I'm concerned.
This is an annual thing, so we can certainly provide a breakdown, but what I can also tell you is stuff like, Carrie was mentioning, the government, or His Majesty the King, that's any land that's owned by that. Those are canceled taxes, but we also get a payment made for that. So it's not technically taxes, but we do get paid for it. So this is just the process to do that. We can certainly provide a breakdown if you want.
Yeah, I would like that, please. Thank you.
Counselor Hunt?
So it's called grant of lieu. When we see grant in lieu of the budget, that's grant in lieu of provincial buildings that pay taxes. Schools don't, churches don't. And like the deputy CEO says, this is a common practice every year, and we have to do this before our audit comes in June. So it's normal practice. There is no group that has a building that they, for a clubhouse, whatever, that would be under that category that they wouldn't be paying taxes on. So this is normal. I'm okay proceeding with it.
Well, I think just because we did it in the past doesn't mean that we have to do it in the future. And as a counselor, as an elected official, I'd like some more clarification. Sorry.
Well, I'm sorry too, but understanding the process, though, it's all government buildings, churches, and schools, which has been.
How do I know that? In this.
The CAO told you that. The deputy CAO told you that.
Well, I'd like it written down then.
I think maybe the wording needs to change.
Yeah, whatever you agree, yeah.
Because I understand exactly what you're saying about what this is.
Okay,
So I think the wording just kind of throws it off a little bit.
well, a breakdown will be provided, but there's no need to hold this up. So all those in favor? Those opposed? Council under opposed, everybody else in favor, that matter is carried. Okay, and camera was removed out of it. Resolution no adjourned. Be it resolved that the council meeting be adjourned at 6:24 PM. Could I get a mover, please? Council Dornbos, seconder. Council Fablecore, and all those in favor. Unanimous, that is carried. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Right.